still going on, and she's basically been diagnosed with two personality disorders, borderline personality disorder, and histrionic. So, they're trying to establish that she's crazy, and they're doing a good job. And having lived with a mother that had borderline personality disorder and probably a little bit of histrionic herself, that is not an excuse. Okay, that is not manic depression. It is not bipolar issues, anxiety, or anything else. It's just something is wired wrong in their makeup. Okay, and that's just what is going on. So I think Amber is going to be owing Johnny a lot of money, and we're never going to see her again after this. It's too bad because she probably had a lot of potential at one time. And, you know, with something like this, people don't, they learn how to cope with it, but they don't get better from it. Hey, Dave, it's just something that they have to live with. It's like narcissists never recover from being narcissists. You know what I mean? Howdy, Mad Piranha. Anyway, so there's that, and of course Elon Musk, and I guess they had to lock down Twitter's access codes because they were worried about disgruntled employees taking the site down. There are gonna be a lot of people fired. You watch, okay? This is Musk is gonna go through and say you're done. The company cannot stand with people like that having any power to do as they want, and they've had it way too much for too long. But I want to talk a little bit about Essential Legends. So I just ordered a regular Kenobi novel. I don't have it, and I wanted it, and I hadn't read it. It was one of the ones I hadn't read. And I noticed when I was going through that they have Essential Legends Kenobi. Now get back in your way, way back machine when they announced that they were doing an Essential Legends collection with new covers, reprinting books that should have been probably turned into series and feature films, like the Thrawn trilogy. Darth Bane. All right, we haven't seen anything about the Old Republic, but I have a feeling that we're going to see a Darth Bane trilogy come out. I don't know why. I'd heard a rumor that Favreau wanted to do that. What else? There's a Wedge Antilles X-Wing Wedge's Gambit, or Wedge's Gamble, Death Troopers, Shatterpoint, Mace Windu, and there'll probably be more. I'm going to tell you guys this right now. We have the shows that they've been thinking about in front of us, okay? With the news that they're only doing 3. Yeah, I read it. I read it a while ago. And I say that they should make that into a series. So anyway, but I'll give you the Essential Legends. We got the Thrawn trilogy, and that's basically is coming. We've got the Bane trilogy, and I have all 3 of those books. Kenobi's on its way, and I just discovered that there's an Essential Legends version of Kenobi. Darth Plagueis, I don't have that, but I will get it. Death Troopers, X-Wing, Wedge's Gamble, Shatterpoint, so far. so far. Again, all right, first off, the money is saved using the so-called legends, the EU, to continue the story that they would have saved would have been great. Okay. Would have been significant. Okay. They had ready-made stuff to go for streaming. Okay. They didn't do that. And they're suffering. They're suffering for this. You know, I talked about today in my upload about the dearth of writing. Whose fault is it? When you've got a bunch of political activists running a creative industry, you're not going to get creativity. Political minds aren't creative. They're not. Okay? They need people who are creative in marketing, PR, and writing to help them. But they themselves, by and large, are not creative people. Excuse me. So, scratching my throat. That's probably dog hair. So what I'm God. Sorry guys. I hate doing that. So what I'm thinking is that what we've got here is John Favreau and Dave Filoni looking at the best stories in the EU and saying, this is the way to go. Chapek and Iger back then saying yes. Now, the rumor that Iger and Kennedy were on the outs is true. Okay. He fell, when you look at his book, he fell head over heels trying to explain away George and why George was upset. He never said a word in his book about Kennedy. All right. So the idea that somehow they're best buddies, ever since 2018, I've never quite bought that. All right. Is he still in the hot seat for what's going on at Disney? Yeah. This is not Bob Chapek's fault. His only fault was appearing to have bent the knee to the LGBTQ community working in Disney. And again, when you've got activists, they're going to hire other activists. And Bob Iger wanted to run for president, hired these people, and thank you, Dave. And there you go, voila. Okay. And now we've got what we've got. I said yesterday that if you think that aren't any negotiations and a back and forth between DeSantis and the leaders at Disney, you're wrong. You don't burn bridges. You don't. And the fact that Disney's very quiet right now since since the Reedy Creek thing was revoked, repealed, is interesting to me. Okay. So what do we have here? What is going on with Star Wars? What I think with Andor having its seasons cut to 3, with the Acolyte being pushed back again to August, with the weird, if you go to WDW Pros, that Park Place, and find his entry, I think it was like February 8th, about Pablo Hidalgo, he doesn't say he's working there or not working there. He just says, Pablo says he's working there. All right. So there are changes coming to the Disney landscape. There have to be, and they're going to be quite like what's going on at Twitter. When you've got employees not being unable to put things on the website now, they've locked down the website so it can't be used without emergency. It can only be used for emergency purposes to do something with it. and only a certain amount of people can. It is, look, it is solely owned privately by Elon Musk. So we could wake up and there'd be no Twitter tomorrow. I mean, if he felt like it. Okay, it's his thing. And when I think about what's going on with Disney, I kind of wish someone like him would have made a tender offer to buy Disney. All right. And then start firing people like David Zaslav. What we learned about in the trial today, Amber's personality disorders, she's borderline and histrionic. I don't think Zaslav is going to want to keep her. I can't imagine. There are big changes coming to Hollywood itself. Okay, Netflix is down in the dumps. The movie theaters are like, well, hey, we're here, you know. And it's going to get very interesting going forward. The next few weeks are going to be very interesting. And when you got Essential Legends books now appearing to be, I mean, I'm going to say this. I'm going to read Kenobi before the show comes out. And I will bet there are a lot of things in that book that show up in the show. Okay. I haven't read it. Maybe one of you guys can, and you can chime in. Here's the reason why it's very interesting to me. They didn't have to do this. Honestly, I think the money that they thought they were saving by hiring younger, cheaper writers was wasted because, again, it cost them more money than it cost them more money in the long run because they lost money. They didn't need to do it. They didn't need to try to reset the canon. And when you think about it, it's going to be very interesting going forward. All right, because I don't see the Kennedy era being represented at all in the newer stuff, and if it is, it's High Republic and no one's reading it. And if somebody can find out the list of panels at Star Wars Celebration, please, because I have not seen anywhere where it says the High Republic authors have a panel. They have a booth. Well, you have a booth. Cool. Okay. Meanwhile, no one cares. It looks to me like they're trying to wrap up Kennedy's nonsense sooner rather than later. Okay. And I don't see any evidence of it in places where it counts. Okay. And the fact that they made the Kenobi series, they were going to anyway, but the fact that they then decided and I think this was probably decided before the show was announced, to do an Essential Legends book with the Kenobi book is very interesting to me. Now remember what I said. I said these books coming out are going to be shows. We're going to see these either on Disney Plus or we're going to see them on the big screen. Okay. And it's really gonna get more interesting as we go along because I think they're gonna add more to this. All right, it's a little bit of a step and then a little bit more of a step, and again, it is probably cheaper to develop one of these books into a script or the idea of it, because combining Ahsoka with the Thrawn trilogy is a way to go, because you can add some more originality to it. Having Obi-Wan, and I'm going to say this, bitch all you want, I'm glad he's not going to stay on Tatooine. I'm sick of Tatooine. Aren't you? Raise your hand if you are. But this, the books I'm looking forward to in Essential Legends is Tatooine Ghost. I really honestly think that would be a good animated show. And I mean good animation, and not the CGI stuff where, Anakin looks, I mean, it's like, that doesn't even look like Hayden Christensen. I don't like, I'm really picky. So when I see animation and it doesn't look right, it doesn't look, it's distorted, it's not, it isn't in proportion, it bothers me. Well, they've got Bane in Essential Legends, and I did hear, Dave, that Favreau wanted to do that trilogy, Darth Bane. I would prefer they start with Revan. If we get a Revan Essential Legends, we're going to have a Revan TV show or a movie. Okay. I actually think that would be a good movie. It would be a good, like The Hobbit was for Lord of the Rings. It would be a good jump off for the Bane trilogy. I think they're going to be quasi adopted. Okay. But again, I haven't read Kenobi. If any of you guys have read it, let me know. I read Plagueis. I think it would be a good streaming show, but please don't let the people who wrote Moon Knight get near it. The last episode of Moon Knight, I was like this. What the fuck did I just watch? I just wasted 45 minutes of my life watching this dumpster fire. It's true. That's what they were. I mean, that's what it was. I mean, I didn't want to see the hippopotamus-headed goddess of fertility show up either. Well, it's gonna be a while. Friend of mine, or I was watching. Who was it that said it? I think it was Midnight's Edge yesterday, and Andre mentioned. Oh, it was more than an acid trip. It was like acid with mushrooms. It was like basically saying that Warner Brothers has nothing but garbage coming out, and they're probably just going to release it. Now, are they going to recast Amber Heard? That could very well happen. Okay. Because they pushed it back a year, and I don't think that it would be out of the realm of possibility for Zaslav to say, we got to redo this. We have to redo this. It wouldn't surprise me at all. Okay. That wouldn't shock me at all. But I think things are coming to a head. I really wish that I knew what was happening behind the scenes at Disney a little better. I know Sci-Fi Universe yesterday showed up and said they're getting ready to start firing people. And they lost 35% of their value. Okay. And somebody, Barron's, the Investors magazine, basically said, no stock has fallen worse than Disney. Now, I'm going to say this. Netflix seems to have done worse. Okay. Get woke, go broke. Okay. So what can Disney do? We know the cause of their pain. We've seen them. They have announced themselves. What I would do if I was Bob Chapek, give it a month to die down, and then start firing the woke folk. Okay. The first thing you do is you look at the budget and cut their funding. Cut the funding for all that. Yeah, I did too, but I've been watching the trial too, Dave. I cut the funding for it. I cut the funding to the point that there's no way you can keep those people on. Okay. Now, what if somebody named Christopher, who I challenged, where did you hear this? And about this, I'm going to tell you what this is in a second. He never ever came back to tell me where he heard this, but he shows up, pukes on my board, pukes on the channel. Yeah, I heard that the board is looking at putting Peter Reith or some other guy, Tom Skaggs, into the role of CEO over Chapek. And I'm going, where the fuck did you hear that? First off, the board serves at the pleasure of the shareholders. The board doesn't get to say who the chairman of the board is. The shareholders do. Okay? And I gotta say this. I don't know where this guy came from. I honestly, I told Cameron about it. And he was like, why don't they just hire Iger back? Because that's what it would be. Now, the rumor I heard from WDW Pro, there were 3 names being bandied about to go to Warner Brothers to fill a spot. And one of them was Peter Rice to go to Warner Brothers. And if he goes, Latondra Newton and all those people are gone. Because their safety net, the person between Newton and Chapek is gone. And he can put anybody he wants in there. Okay? He can put anybody he wants in there. And that is the thing we gotta watch. Okay? But when that guy showed up there and then he didn't come back, it was like a hit and run troll. So I challenged him. He didn't come back and add where he found this, any links even to Reddit or 4chan. No, he's not running for president, Matt Piranha. I mean, he could try. I don't think there's anybody at Disney that would vote for the fucker. But he, you know, where this guy got this, I don't know. So I'm going to assume that he's somebody that found the channel and decided to post that, and then decided he was just gonna troll. Because I don't look. If you're adamant about something and you think you're right, you're gonna stand up for yourself. And I challenged him after mocking him. I said, hey, you know, why don't you go and tell me where you found this? Where's the link? Who told you? I would like to read it. Nothing. I gave him a full night to come back and say something. He didn't. I banned him. You know, I'm not going to sit there and let somebody troll like that. Because it's not it's not the way to do things. Okay, you don't look. I want to get the most accurate information to you guys as I can. Okay, and you know, if I say this is a rumor, grain of salt, I'm speculating here. You guys know that I don't know what's going on, but it's the best of my ability to see what the next step is going to be. Like, I knew Elon Musk was going to try to buy Twitter. And when he put that vote up there about Twitter, hey, Andrew. Oh, thank you. When he put that vote up there, if he should buy Twitter or not, it's like he's gonna buy Twitter. And he did, all right? You know, you gotta look. Tiny actions that people take are worth more than some rant of Ron DeSantis or some sociopath LGBTQ bully at Disney, okay? Look at what we're not hearing. Is Chapek in hiding? No, he's not hiding. He's probably doing his job and trying to figure his way out of this mess. Okay. Ron DeSantis is like, the ball's in your court. I guarantee you that they're talking right now. I guarantee you they've been talking. They have to. Look, you do not piss off the local government and expect to get away with a hand slap. And lifting the tax breaks that they got is that's not a bitch slap. That's a Mike Tyson right hook. Okay, that is a Mike Tyson right hook. Okay. And we have to look at it like that. Okay. For Disney not to say, hey, can we have a conversation about this? Is bad business. It was already bad business allowing the LGBTQ 5 employees running around feel like they had the right to bully the CEO. And when I look at the board and I see Chapek apologizing, it's like, don't do that. That, if he'd have kept his mouth shut after Wednesday, I'll give him Wednesday because he was talking to the investors. But after Wednesday, when all of a sudden that memo came out, and then we got the hostage video, it's like, dude, you should have kept your mouth shut. If I'd have been one of his advisors, I'd have said, don't say another word. Let them scream. Let them scream, okay? Because you gave enough red meat to the left with that explanation that you didn't really have to give, but they were investors and were throwing a tantrum, and I guess you have to. But you don't have to explain yourself to your employees, okay? I said, don't do that. Why? You're the boss, okay? You said no comment. That should have been the end of it, okay? And as far as I'm concerned, it was. And if the LGBTQ XYZ dumbasses that were freaking out and still are freaking out don't understand that it's bad for business to get involved with local politics, then maybe they should go into activism. Maybe they should go, look, part of the video upload that I did about the Awfuls, and if you're a newbie, AWFUL stands for Affluent White Female Ultra Leftists. Okay, but I added Oprah Winfrey on there too because she's extremely powerful. So she's like an honorary member of the group. Part of that is activists, like, because they're politically minded, aren't creative. Okay, they're not creative. If you go look at the activist art from like the 60s, it's trashy. Propaganda art, like Hitler had a German art museum in Munich. It was enormous. And the art there was very pedantic, very parochial. It was like, propaganda films, like Triumph of the Will was beautiful, but if you look at it, and other ones, like the movie that like made like what? Well over $1 billion in China, just in China alone. The Battle of Lake Xinjiang, or whatever the fuck it was called. Propaganda flick. Everybody had to go. Okay. I'm not gonna go because it looks stupid. Okay. But everybody had to go. All right. Those are message movies. They don't work. They're not creative. They're activist driven. A movie like, all right, let's look at Casablanca. At the time, it took a relevant issue. People fleeing Europe, trying to get to England, Switzerland, America, running to the French holdings in Morocco, and the Germans basically coming in and saying, we run the show now. Okay, that's relevant. But when you look at how good it was written, it was also timeless. So you can make a timeless story with a relevant topic and it'll work, but it's very rarely that that'll work. You know, All the President's Men didn't age well. Who cares? We've had far more corrupt people in the White House. I mean, look at the one we got now. I mean, I'm going to say this. Look at Barack Obama. Look at Bill Clinton. Okay? Those guys made Nixon look like a freaking Boy Scout. You know, so it's very relevant to that time, and look, Casablanca has a meaningful romance. And it has implications in the story of humanity, right? Corrupt politician, Whoopi Twang. You know, Richard Nixon, 1972, Whoopi Twang. You know, and who cares, okay? What else? So when they get these writers, these activists like Kennedy, get these writers or women like Barbara Streisand make a movie, they're not looking to make something that everybody wants to see. They want to put a message in. Look at Barbara Streisand's husband's movie about Ronald Reagan. It was horrifying. It was horrifying. Horrifyingly bad. They made the first couple of the United States from the 1980s look like freaking cartoons. They didn't try to make it good. They didn't try. I mean, at least when Meryl Streep made Thatcher, that actually was a very, I thought, respectful portrayal of her. You know, they actually showed where she came from. They actually showed the reasons why she thought the way she thought. Okay? That was good. And that movie's going to stand the test of time. But the stuff, I mean, the Watergate stuff, it's atrocious. Because they're activists. All right? Again, activists, by and large, are not creative people. And when you get people like Rian Johnson, J.J. Abrams, who's now completely moving away from DC EU to something called Dibimonda for HBO Max. He's starting a new streaming show for them. I don't know. I'm not going to watch it. So he's actually leaving the big franchises, which everybody should go, yay, yay. Apologize for Star Wars and Star Trek. These guys are activists. All right? They are. They don't know how to write something everybody wants to see because they're not concerned about the audience. Rian Johnson said it best, we're making the movie we want to make. A fan wouldn't say that. Somebody who cared wouldn't say that. All right? That's the thing. Okay? And we've had Star Wars be riddled with people who don't care. I mean, I don't have any F's to give about what the story group says. Daniel Jose Older is more worried about critical race theory and being a racist Latinx dude than he is about, and gay, than he is about writing a good story about Lando Calrissian. And he had to make sure that he kicked Han in the balls as hard as he could. Hi, Kyle. Claudia Gray is more worried about gender politics and sexuality than she is about writing a good Star Wars story. David, what are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about, David. And Justina Ireland is just a racist fat hag. Okay. I'm being honest. That's what they are. All right. What else can I say about them? They're not good writers. Okay. Now, you can be an SJW and think, oh, they're just so great. And they just, everybody, there's so much good representation. The story sucks. They suck. They suck. Okay. Everybody in Lucasfilm, even the people who like this stuff, knows they suck. Okay. There you go. It's really interesting to me watching all this and seeing this happening now, that the EU, at least that part of the EU, is getting looked at closely for inspiration to tell the Star Wars story. All right. And we'll probably see more novels being put into the Essential Legends collection. Like I said, I really want to see Tatooine Ghost in that collection. I really want to see the Jedi Academy in that collection. Because if that's the case, we're not gonna. Look. When you look at who's showing up at Star Wars Celebration, Adam Driver. Adam Driver's already got a movie with Michael Mann getting ready to start filming. I don't know what Daisy Ridley's doing, but those guys aren't. Those people don't want to be part of this anymore. Oh no, he won't. He won't. I think he tried to with The Rise of Skywalker. He said after it came out, I know this is a bad movie, you can hate it if you want. At least he was honest like that. But it's like, well, why'd you make a bad movie? All right, why'd you make a bad movie? And don't sit there and say they wouldn't let me make a good one. There are ways, if you've got a script that's good, you fight for it, okay? Like adding the kiss at the end. All that was to placate fucking dried up premenopausal Rayblows and hard up teenage sociopaths and Kathy Bates characters from Misery. That's all that was. It had nothing to do with what was what should have been in the story. Okay, it was ridiculous. And then he croaks. And then he fucking croaks. Okay, there you go. There you go. So, I scrolled through it. I got through to the end. I barely watched 5 minutes of it because every time I stopped it, I was like, oh God, this is horrible. This is horrible. I shouldn't feel like this. It's a Star Wars movie. It's horrible. It's terrible. This is, that's the mountain. That's the obstacle that is standing in between Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni and fixing what's wrong. And, the only way they can do it right, is to decanonize the sequel trilogy and get rid of Solo. Rogue One is the only, like I said, I've said this before, there are people out there that don't like it, I don't care, all right? It didn't hurt. Hey, Patrick. I started at, a little after 4. They're not Star Wars, and they're not. They're not, it wasn't, look, we were we were speculating how to fix how to fix Star Wars God before the Rise of Skywalker, long before the Rise of Skywalker, and it was easy. It was easy. Ray, first off, Luke, have him projecting himself from like Tatooine. He was never actually on Ahch-To. Okay. Ray finds him, and Ray discovers that she's actually Dipshit's sister. Okay. He was, he could have a backstory like, I said this before. Leia and Han didn't think they could have kids. Luke finds this, Luke finds his, this kid being protected by whatever. Kid has really high levels of force sensitivity, so he goes, okay, I'm going to take him. Takes him to Leia and Han to be raised, and when the kid turns 10, Leia discovers she's pregnant. Okay, and Han is overwhelmed. This is his daughter, and you go on with it. I mean, that would have been the perfect way to fix that. So then you'd actually kind of have an echo of Jaina and Jacen. Okay, you could go on with it, all right? There would be a reason for him to hate her. You wouldn't have to worry about fucking Reylo. Because, look, there didn't need to be any romance, and it's like, when you get a bunch of idiot suits telling movie makers, filmmakers what to put on the screen, and they're worried about what the women want to see. Sure, we'd like to see a romance, but not Reylo, because it is abusive, and it was forced in because, again, a bunch of angry, borderline nutcases with sexual deviancy problems just had to have it. Okay? Don't work for me. Don't work for you. Don't work for me. There you go. And but it would have been really easy to fix. Now, would Kennedy have liked it? I said, look, this is the only way we can fix it, and people will come to this. And if she would have said, I'm not going to sit there and blame Disney the way you guys do. Okay, let's think. Disney employs 200,000 people, 80,000 in the state of Florida. Florida has a supermajority of Republicans and a former Navy SEAL JAG lawyer as governor. Okay, how many of those 80,000 people do you think voted for Ron DeSantis? Probably a good majority, probably 60-70%. You're hurting them by wishing you want Disney to go away. And that is fucking bullshit. Look, as a Catholic, I gotta say, you lack charity. Okay? You lack charity. All right? If you honestly think everybody at Disney runs around like LaToya Ravenel, look at the walkout. One person shows up in Florida and only 70 in California. Of all those people in Burbank, all those people in Anaheim, more people went out there to protest the LGBTQ nutbags than came out to support them. Okay, think about it, all right? Disney is in a bad place right now because Bob Iger put things in the company that shouldn't have been there. He wanted to use the company to help him win the Democrat nomination, okay? And it didn't work out that way. And I'm just talking about that. All right? Yeah, and that's the way you have to think is You have to want to look, and you're right there, Patrick. You have to want to look and think, look, this can be fixed. It's a people problem, okay? It's like this, not wanting to go to Mass because of the people there, or you had a bad experience, or you weren't getting what you wanted from the people there. Or here's a question. Why were you going to Mass? Why were you part of a church for the people? You know, you're supposed to go there for God, right? So if you're looking at Disney and say you want it to all burn down, it's the same thing. You know, and Dave's right. From what I think WDW Pro said, is that the Florida people that work at Disney and the California people hate each other. And thanks, Dave. That's a bad thing too. I would actually have a company-wide meeting and say, no, you guys gotta stop. And I would have it at Orlando, at the Grand Floridian, okay? And say, guess what? We all get to hang out together, all right? We'll go to the park, we'll do things, we'll commiserate, we'll bond. But no more of this back and forth between California and Florida. Y'all work for Disney, okay? So fucking quit it. And that's what they should do, all right? But, you know, Disney's 100 years old this year. And I think that the legacy of Walt deserves better from people. And not just, you know, it deserves better from us. Look, I've always thought there were things worth fighting for. Okay? And this is worth fighting for. Okay, getting, it's part of our culture. And you guys all know I did do some stuff for Andrew Breitbart. All right. In fact, I might do an upload about him. He died 10 years ago. Yeah, 10 years ago. It was 2012. So I think it was February. So it was heartbreaking. We need him now. Oh, they would have banned him from Twitter, and he would have laughed it off, and then they would have had him come back. Anyway, I gotta go. Oh yeah, he was a man. He really, I mean, Andrew was one of a kind. But I gotta go because I gotta lift and do some other things. You know, I think when I saw the Kenobi book, I'm like, I'm right. All these books are gonna be the basis for shows coming. All right. Anyway, get a rock. I'll see you guys around the galaxy. Behave, be safe. Anything else goes on, I'll be back. And oh, by the way, laugh at Twitter right now. I'll see you guys later.